Asia ke nerishika dekanu tadu heya heya dekanu tadu heya heya Asia ke tacha nakwata diana uga yatsasaina heya uga yatsasaina heya heya Asia ke nakwata to say a Jew to say a see a key Kwani chi you a who tajan
Welcome everyone to Trinity Summer Tea. I'm Joan Kitchen, a member of the Pastoral Care Team at Trinity Presbyterian Church. Once again, we're meeting in the comforts of our home through the use of technology. The COVID-19 social restrictions continue. I hope everyone is feeling healthy and secure and in good spirits. If you need any help, please call the church office. The messages are checked on a regular basis, and Reverend Summers will take your calls as well or meet with you. We are here for you. Today's summer tea is all about celebrating Canada and having fun in the summertime. We're going to hear from some of Trinity's members, watch a short video, receive greetings from Reverend Summers, and enjoy some special music that Michael has prepared. I have my iced tea and some summertime refreshments, and I've pulled up a chair so that we can be together. I hope that you enjoy this time. So I'm just going to share a few reflections with you about summertime in Canada. When I think about Canada and the summertime, first I think about what is close by. The beautiful parks in the city of Toronto that are available for all to visit. The walking paths and the picnic areas for meeting friends and playing games. I think of my family's annual picnic at the farm in Middlesex County. That's between London and Suwarno. I reflect on all our trips to Sandbanks Provincial Park in Prince Edward County, Ontario. That's where we meet with a group of lifelong friends and share the ups and downs of the past year. I think of our many camping trips to different parks throughout Canada. The farthest east I've ever gone is Forillon National Park in Quebec, and the furthest west I've gone is Kootenay National Park in British Columbia. My dream is to someday meet up at all the national parks in Canada. There's 48 of them. That's where I would love to explore the cultural differences, learn the history, and discover the natural beauty of each of these unique regions in the vast country of Canada. Today we'll show you a short video from Parks Canada, and the song that was written to join the video when translated into English, is titled Grandfather's Land. I hope you enjoy the video as much as I did. Trinity acknowledges that the land that we meet on is the traditional territory of many nations. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Summertime in Canada is a great time for me to recharge my batteries. It's a time to rest, relax, and enjoy the weather. I read more books and magazines, I drink more iced tea, and I listen to Canadian music. Summertime for me is when I am able to reflect on my dreams and my relationships. So I'd like to tell you about 2 churches that I like to visit and experience God's presence in a very different and meaningful way during the summer. I'd like to first tell you about my hometown church. It's actually located outside of town on a bit of a hill, surrounded by pastures and fields of cash crops. It was built in 1835 by my ancestors from sturdy yellow bricks, slate roof, and it has beautiful windows that let the sun shine in. Beside the church is a manse where the minister and family live. Between these 2 buildings is a large shady yard with big old trees. Perfect spot for an outdoor summer service. Everyone brings their folding chairs and a thermos filled with tea or coffee. A blanket is laid out for the children to keep busy with activities. And the birds join in with the singing, just like today. And so do the cows and the cats. For me, visiting that church is a time to reconnect with my family, lifelong friends, and it's a time to remember my Canadian roots. The other church that I like to visit is called Bannockburn Community Church. It had its original roots with the Presbyterian Church of Canada, so it has a real draw for me to go to this little church. It's tucked into the woods, down a dusty dirt road, and sits beside a lake. Each Sunday brings a guest speaker, and the local cottagers share their musical gifts. It's a simple service. The piano's a little out of tune, the stacking chairs squeak, and the Sunday school is held in a tent on the side yard. Yet the sun streams through the screened windows, and the breeze off the lake is so refreshing. I'm surrounded by peace and serenity every time I go to that church. And that's when I feel God near me with this message. Be still. Be still and wait for the Lord. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. Hope comes from the Lord. Be still so that you can be quick to listen, slow to speak, and even slower to anger. Be still to calm and quiet my soul. So instead of listening to the noise of all of my worries, the Canadian summer gives me time to listen to the Lord and to find peace, comfort, and strength. As it is written in Isaiah 40, verse 31, "For those that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles." Thank you for sharing this time with me and listening to my experiences of summer here in Canada. I hope that you enjoy the rest of today's program.
Hi everyone, it's Kirk here at the iced tea making station in our home. We've got the ingredients of tea and lemon and sugar and ice. We're getting ready to go for sure. We've got the items that go along with iced tea. We've got the spoon and a straw, not a paper straw, but a straw. And here's the kettle ready all to boil the water, because you need to boil it first to make the tea and then the ice to make it iced tea. And then I have here 2 glasses Yeah, one for me. And one to remind me of all of you. Not just feels good. So, here at the iced tea making station in our home, we've got the ingredients, we've got the items. What else do we need for a wonderful first ever summer iced tea at Trinity Church? Well, we need an iced tea attitude. I'd like to thank Joan Kitchen and her team, everyone involved in bringing this to life, and I'd like to thank all of you for your summer iced tea attitude. And that attitude, it's full of confidence that this is a good thing. It's full of creativity. Oh my goodness, to get together from here, there, and everywhere to have tea. Thank you for that confidence and that creativity. It takes commitment to check in and get ready, and it takes communication. And thanks so much for checking in and finding out when the tea is and sharing the good news of the tea out and about. What else does it take? We've got ingredients, we've got items, and we've got a good iced tea attitude. Well, it takes community. It takes us together, even when apart, in the unity of the Holy Spirit. It takes the friendship that goes with community. As your minister and your friend, I thank you, especially during this season of the virus, for the commitment to community that you have one with the other. And within that friendship with community, it's all wrapped up in the friendship of the Son of God, our Savior and our Lord, Jesus Christ. So as we enjoy this summer iced tea together, we give thanks to God for the ingredients, the items, the attitude, and the community that offers. Friend one to the other, old friend and new, friends forever. Friendship of Jesus Christ. Happy summer, everyone. Happy summer iced tea. Do take care. Bye for now.
Thank you, Kirk. Melvin here from the House of Suwarno. We hope you've been enjoying your day so far. Now that you have everything you need, let's make some tea. Grab whatever tea you have in your cupboard. Follow along and we'll sip some nice tea together. I'll be making Indonesian sweet iced tea this afternoon. It's called es teh manis, roughly translated as ice, tea, sweet. Come on in. So here we have the tea. It takes around 5 minutes for the tea to brew. For this recipe, I like to brew the tea a bit stronger so that when you mix it with the ice, it won't be too diluted. Let's give this a go. Now you can do this over the countertop as well. They like to really brew and steep the tea in until it's dark color, which is very rich. And because it's a sweet tea, you can add more sugar than needed, which is always good. While waiting for the tea to brew, I'm gonna let you know about the Indonesian sweet tea. It's usually made out of jasmine leaf. This tea has turned out to be the ultimate choice of tea enthusiasts in Indonesia. The tea tastes soft and sweet. If you're looking forward to enjoying a cup of tea which is not too hard, you can refer to jasmine tea. This tea brings jasmine perfume when it's brewed. It's actually a sight to behold if you brew the jasmine flower tea. It blooms as you brew it in your teapot. It was during the 5th century when these flowers were primarily used in tea. Can you imagine how tea drinking started? Oh, I'm just gonna put these flowers that I grow in my garden into a pot, boil it, and drink it. That's very, very adventurous. Now, I remember the summer when I grew up in Indonesia. It's very hot, humid, and we always stay indoors in the comfort or air conditioning. Now, Indonesia itself, if you don't know, it's actually quite far away from Toronto, and it's located at the equator. It takes about 24 hours of flight from Jakarta to Toronto. There, we always drink sweet iced tea whenever we eat out. It is served in a vast majority of food service businesses, ranging from street hawkers and traditional food corners to high-end restaurants. You know, although I am adjusted now to Canadian weather, my love for sweet iced tea still remains, and I will drink it in the bitter cold days in Canada. Now it looks like our tea has brewed, so we're gonna put sugar in it. Fun fact of tea in Canada. Tea with caffeine is the #1 type of tea drunk in Canada, with 7 in 10 people, around 69% drinking it. Furthermore, almost half of Canadians drink herbal tea, about 46%. Now, I like my tea very sweet. Shh. I got my sweet tooth from my upbringing. Everything tastes sweet, from your food and drinks. I think they even put sugar in your toothpaste. Let's add in the ice. Tons and tons of ice because it's very hot out there. And there you have it. A little bit of mint from Angela's garden. Maybe 1 or 2 in there. There you go. Oh, smells so good. There you go. Look at that. I'm going to taste now. That is so good. It reminds me of home. It's truly a blessing here to be here in Canada. We have a culture mosaic that provides us with access to items from around the world. Today in the world, tea will be consumed by 2 billion people. Another fun fact, there are about 3,000 different types of tea. So whatever tea you fancy, you can find one here in Canada. Give me a shout if you'd like to try this tea. Thanks everyone. Have a good summer.
you know, when I first came to Canada, I ended up in Toronto, so, you know, the city. And the first time I went up north in Canada, I could not believe the beauty and the stars in the sky. You don't see stars in Toronto, you know. But I became a camper when I worked with kids, and I fell in love with camping and canoeing on the lake and just seeing so much beauty. Algonquin Park, gorgeous, and other places, Bracebridge, Tobermory, beautiful up there. You know, many, many falls, waterfalls, and everywhere in Ontario there's beauty. You know, if you drive north, south, I've even been to the southernmost point of Ontario, which is really neat. Beautiful, you know, there's so much beauty around us in God's creation. And He's the most amazing artist, just incredible. And then there's other provinces. I've been out east to the east coast, Newfoundland. Oh, it is pristinely beautiful and very small population, put it that way. You can drive for miles and see no one, and no restaurants because not enough people to have a restaurant in an area. But it is pristinely beautiful, and the people are very, very friendly. I remember being in St. John's, Newfoundland, and walking on the main street, the downtown main drag, and there'd be traffic, but you never heard a car horn. In the whole 2 weeks, you never heard an angry car horn. And if you stopped at a corner, even where there was no light, and you paused there, cars would stop to let you go across when you weren't even crossing. You know, that's how friendly they are there. And then there's Nova Scotia and the Cabot Trail, beautiful. I've been there twice, once with a friend and now with my husband, and there's so much beauty in that area to see. And the Cabot Trail, and then New Brunswick. Of all of the provinces I visited, New Brunswick made me feel more like Ireland because of its kind of greenery, its forestry and so on, or forestation I should say. It is incredibly beautiful. And there's a thing called the Hopewell Rocks. Have you ever heard of them? They're rocks in the ocean that the water has eroded into really unique shapes. One looks like a bear, and they call them the flower pots, you know, because they look like they're holding plants. And you have to go at different times because when the tide is in, it's the highest tide in the world. I can't remember the height right this moment, but it's the highest tide. So we went at a time when the tide was out, and we walked around those areas. And then the next day we went when the tide was up. And it's really lovely and interesting. So that's a really neat place to go to. There's no lack of beauty no matter where you go. And we also went to Prince Edward Island. Have you ever been? Prince Edward Island. Now, it's gotten a bit too kitschy, too touristy, you know, because that's the way it makes money. But it is lovely. It has red soil, strong red, or orangish, dark orangish red, and the beaches are red because of the iron in the soil, and that's why it's famous for its potatoes. So there's lots to see there. And then we went out west one time, and we went to Alberta, and I loved it. I loved it there. The beauty. At first I thought, I'm going to be taking pictures of mountains and mountains and mountains, and I'm going to go, here's a mountain, there's a picture of this mountain, but they're all unique and beautiful. And the lakes there, have you ever been? Yeah. Well, you know the colour the lakes get? Do you know why they're that colour? Well, when the fjords melt, they wash down minerals into the lake water, and that creates that, what shade of blue would you call it? I can't think of it right now. It's there, but beautiful. And when I first saw it in the photo, I thought it had been touched up, but it was beautiful. So Canada is gorgeous, you know. You just get yourself out and look around. Even in this park we're in today, every part of the world has its own different beauty, you know. So, you know, unique. And as I was saying to you earlier, Joan, Canada was voted the second most beautiful country in the world. That's quite a statement. And I was surprised Scotland is the first. But anywhere in Canada, it's beautiful. And generally, the people are friendly. You know, the people are approachable and friendly and reasonably courteous. And it's a lovely country to live in.
My name is Jean, and I'm going to start my Canada Day story in 1967. That's the year that Canada celebrated its 100th centennial. And I was a young 21-year-old teacher in Ottawa, where Bobby Jimby wrote a song, the flag got in, everything went crazy a bit. But because so many on my staff were under the age of 25, we were a little crazy too. We had a lot of energy, and we went along with whatever flight of fancy took our imagination. Then I moved to Toronto, which wasn't as, you would think Toronto the state. I really became that because Canada Day was really nothing. I went back to the farm where my parents were for Canada Day because it was the start of summer vacation for me as a teacher. Canada Day became Canada Day, I think, in 1967, regardless of what stage in life people were, because it became a thing. And it had, television brought the Ottawa to the living room of everybody. Even my parents watched it, and they didn't watch much TV. But I think that really is when our country celebration started. In the late 90s, my relatives from New Zealand came over with their small children, who were the same ages as my children. I took them on a road trip from Toronto up north through Algonquin Park and landed in Ottawa the day before the 1st of July. Stayed overnight in the house that we had rented for my son, who was at Carleton University, and the buses were free all of Canada Day. We hopped on a bus with several other hundreds of people, landed downtown Ottawa, and made our way to Capitol Hill, which was already at 10 in the morning, 3/4 full of people with their blankets, their lawn chairs, their picnic campers, everything except the barbecue, which was not allowed. I think a few of those hampers had beer in it, but I didn't check. People were dancing, the bands were already playing, and it was so alive. People all had hats on. I think one of my kids still has the hat that I wore. Very big, tall thing with a big maple leaf on the front. Yeah, it made you feel very proud. But my relatives from New Zealand went home with the idea, we need to do something to celebrate our country. Like we've got Anzac Day, but what's that? That's a treaty. Well, no, that's the war. Then the other one is Waitangi Day, which is the day they signed a treaty with the Maori after a big war where many people were killed. So they need to have something positive. But 20 years later, they're still talking about this. Canada Day was so spectacularly over the top for them. And I think it's become the same. I don't go anywhere for Canada Day now. I go to the Granite Club for Canada Day when my grandchildren are over from Germany. We go there because they put on a lot of things for children. And one of my favorite pictures is the one my son Robert posted on Facebook of Philip and Eileen at the ages of 7 and 9 having a drink in the bar at the Granite Club. Mind you, it was only a Pepsi, but yeah. They thought they were quite grown up having a drink in the bar at the Granite Club. Yeah, so this year for Canada Day, I'll go down to Niagara-on-the-Lake to be with my son and his wife and their 3 children. And my daughter-in-law's birthday is the 30th of June, so it's a good time to spend some time down there. It gets me out of the city, and yeah. So I'm so lucky that I have the life I have, my health, and my faith.
I became a Canadian citizen 2 years ago, January 2018, in the middle of winter. I could still remember, prior to my test, I had to study for about a month. They gave us a booklet called Discover Canada, The Rights and Responsibilities of Citizenship. There are only 20 questions in the test, and if you get 15 right, you pass. And if you don't, they will boot you out in the country. But no, No, this is Canada. They don't do that. They will just give you a cup of Tim Hortons and they will say, well, you can try again and again and again and again. And I'm so sorry and good luck. So luckily, I was the first person, the very first person to ever finish that test. And 5 minutes later, I was called in by an official to discuss my test result in a different room. And he said to me, oh, you didn't do so bad after all. You got 20. So then I was very happy I got the perfect score. The very first Canadian oath-taking ceremony I was in was back in 2004. It was televised in City TV. My choir was singing. And I thought to myself, looking at all the candidates, I'm gonna be a Canadian someday. And yes, indeed, I am now. I had the privilege of listening and playing to this next song you are about to hear, and it's very close to my heart, even before I became a Canadian. I was also one of the very few choir conductors that was lucky to celebrate Canada's 150th anniversary in a musical repertoire. This next song really mesmerized the whole audience. They were humming quietly as we were all singing. And on our last note, there was a very quiet moment, and it was very magical. Certainly, this is Canada's iconic song, Force Strong Winds.
Change, come what may.
Well, everyone, that completes our Trinity Summer Iced Tea. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. It was great listening to the music, seeing everyone's face, and hearing people's messages. Thank you to Vandy and Melvin for their technical abilities for putting this all together, to Michael for his special gift of music, and to Reverend Summers for his thoughts and his blessings. We miss you, everyone. I hope that you are healthy and continue to enjoy this beautiful country of Canada throughout the summer season. We will be together again soon. God bless you.